So first question is, what is Linqto?
Thank you for that question, sir. Linqto is an investment platform. We launched our platform about 2 years ago in the middle of a pandemic. Our platform was built to radically transform and democratize the private equities landscape. Our investment platform was launched, as mentioned, in the middle of the pandemic in 2020, with not much going on in the world, but which allowed me, because truthfully, let me give you a little bit of a backstory, Jake. I came to know and love Linqto as a customer. So before becoming the community director of Linqto, I came to know Linqto through another channel as a customer. So as customer facing, I noticed that Linqto was radically transforming not just the private equities landscape, but the overall process for an individual investor, or at this point, an accredited investor, to take a hold of their financial, I don't want to say financial destiny, but the tools and resources that were once available only to big institutional investors, and then have put them into those tools into the hands of little accredited investors such as myself. So what Linqto is an opportunity to access private equity investment opportunities, or the private markets in another nomenclature. And so with that being said, that is exactly what we're doing, sir. As of today, we have helped or assisted approximately 4,000 members globally. I mean, we have 65,000 members within our community, but of that community, we have about just around 4,000 that have invested in our platform. But of those 4,000, we've assisted them to make today 180 million in transactions. So if you were to go to our website or go to the application, scroll down to the button and look at our liquid shares portfolio, you'll see that we have today assisted our members with processing 180 million in investments. So I think that's across 80 countries globally.
Wow.
And counting. Yeah, and counting. I mean, I can keep going. I'll just keep rattling off facts to you, Jay, because I mean, this is all I do. I apologize
Yeah.
for the stumble off the get-go. I just need to get the wheels turning.
No,
But
yeah. So when we first met, I told you I want to help a million people become financially free. Like that's my purpose. That's what I want to do. And so I'm deeply in alignment with what Linqto is offering. Um, it makes it very difficult for the average person to make substantial wealth nowadays, because they do have to be accredited to even get into the fundraising rounds for these companies, right? So if you're an individual and you wanted to get into private equity, you have to be accredited. So there's three ways to do that. You either have to have $1 million net worth outside of your primary residence. You have to have made 200,000 if you're single, 300,000 if you're married for the last 2 years, which most people's income in the US, I mean, there are people that meet that threshold, but it's few and far between. And then the third way to become accredited is to take your Series 65 and pass. So y'all offered that for a short period of time, and then have nixed that program now. Is that correct?
yeah, so we offered that for a moment, and that moment was actually a little bit before my time at Linqto as a customer and as a community director. So I'm not too well informed on the ins and outs of that program. However, we have a few different ways, a few different prongs of satisfying the credit investor requirements on Linqto. It's very seamless. The process takes, I mean, less than 20 minutes if you have all the bells and whistles, all the proper documentation to satisfy the requirements. But then once you upload the documents, which either would be your W-2s, a letter from your, let me take a step back. W-2s identifying that you make either $200,000 annually sole income, or you have your W-2s for you and your spouse showing that you as a combined household generate $300,000 in annual income. You get a letter from, and if you don't meet those, or maybe you have $1 million in liquidity or assets, excluding a primary residence, you get a letter from your financial, your wealth
Planner or
advisor.
advisor. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and then in addition to the classifications or the licenses, the Series 7, 65, or 85, but then need to be hung at a
And
firm.
you get
So
that from FINRA or the sponsoring broker, whoever's.
that's correct. So I think to your question, Linqto may have sponsored that for a hot second, but no
Yeah,
longer.
it seemed odd to me that y'all were doing that. But I was happy about it at the time. At the time I was not accredited, but since have become accredited. So um
Awesome. Yeah, I think it was. I mean, we were being that we were a startup and trying to attract new investors, trying to see what additional resources that we can provide to our members. Because again, which I can get into in a little bit, but I'd like to even address this right now because it makes sense. What we're trying to do is provide opportunity and access to these hard to reach investment opportunities in the private sector. So if there's all these hoops and hurdles to jump through, if we can provide not just financial literacy and educational resources, but the vehicles to do so, then by all means, what's stopping then us as who may not be or not be familiar of being an accredited investor to have those resources and the capabilities to do so. But since then, I think there was just too much legal ramifications that we were getting involved, coming to crossroads with, that just didn't make sense for our business model. And so unfortunately we had to nix that program. But we're doing everything in our power to
make it as easy as possible for the retail investor.
In the best interest. That's correct. So I mean, that's what we're here for. That's why we're working, Jake. We're doing this podcast on a Saturday, sir, is because we're passionate and we're doing our best. And we know that if we're not doing it, I mean, we hope that someone else will be. But in the event that there isn't, it's just, I think the way that we operate is there's no one better than us. There's no one better than us to get the job done, or at least
I agree. And that's why I'm in alignment with you guys. And after our conversation to begin with, I've been a big proponent of y'all and what you're trying to accomplish. So with that, so the long-term vision for you guys, if I'm not mistaken, is to allow regular retail investors, hopefully if the laws have to change for this to happen, right? But regular retail investors to be able to invest in tokenized private equity long-term, is that the real goal of Linqto?
Oh, absolutely. To invest in tokenized equities on our platform, and then also to, we're already, I can say that we're global, but to be truly global, we're as mentioned, we are able to assist our members in across 80 countries globally. So I'd like to see that number get to a plus 100. And then also, at this time, there's only 2% of the U.S. population of the accredited investor community let me take a step back. In the United States, of the population that satisfy the accredited investor requirements, only 2% are actually taking advantage of these investment opportunities, of the opportunity itself. And so, and then across the world, and that's just the U.S. and across the world, there's about 130 million that would achieve qualify, thank you, as an accredited investor within their jurisdictions. Because again, each country or jurisdiction has their own requirements. So when we were just talking about the accredited investor requirements a moment ago, we were only discussing the U.S. requirements, and so they vary from country to country geographically. And so of our demographic, our top countries are of course the U.S., Canada, Australia, and the UK. And so if anyone's listening and you're of those demographics, I recommend that you do your homework, do your due diligence, look into see what are those requirements, and head on over to Linqto's website and submit your documentation. It'll take a few seconds, the process will take a few seconds. Our team on the back end, it'll take about 48 hours to process that paperwork. Now, it could be faster. I mean, truthfully, it usually is 9 times out of 10, but for
under promise, over deliver, it can take up to 48 hours.
But yeah, it can take up to 40 hours. I'm also just saying that just so I'm not stepping on the toes of any of my team members, because they're like, Ray, we can't do this in 30 minutes. Well, you did it for me. You did it for everyone else. I know, but we just gotta say 48 hours, just in the event that the pipeline's pretty saturated. So, okay, by all means. So, can we get it done in real time? Absolutely.
It'd be good to have that problem, right? It'd be great if you had that many people applying to be, buying equity on your platform. Which hopefully that's the case. I think you're headed that way with some of the companies that you're offering. So let's get into that piece. So the people that have made that money on your platform, I know you guys offered Coinbase before they went public. I think I remember seeing it somewhere around $35 a share on your platform. And then they IPO'd at 350 or 360. So a 10X on those customers' investment. Speak a little bit to that.
Yeah, and on point, Jake. Actually, it was however, it was $32 a share. So yeah, $32 a share in our platform, and then at the time of IPO, Coinbase was approximately, I believe, $350 a share. So, but obviously, since then, the company's gotten hit hard in the public markets with general equity sell off and the crypto winter, and also lack of public blockchain companies. There's just a lot of pain in the
Well,
market right now.
and but you'd still be up. I think their stock price is still over what you sold it for on your platform, right?
True. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I just it's
So,
just a prettier picture when you say
so
thirty two
yeah,
dollars to 350.
yeah. Well, and it was a direct listing, so a lot of people don't understand how how companies can go public and the different types of IPOs that exist. But Coinbase's IPO was a direct listing, so they didn't create new shares. It was the shareholders that currently held equity that had to sell those shares onto the market. So I'm sure there was a large portion of your patrons that participated in
Oh
that
yeah.
IPO where they sold their shares directly onto the market and made a 10x on their investment. And I think that Linqto is going to have uh, a lot of those opportunities with the companies that you still have listed on your platform, and that's the wealth creation piece that I'm talking about when I speak to wanting to help a million people become financially free, because you don't get that in regular markets. You see it in crypto some because it's still the wild west and unregulated, but when you're investing in companies, especially unicorn companies like you guys have on your platform, man, like the average Joe is not going to get an exposure to that. And I love that you open that up to people if they are accredited. The minimum requirement is normally 10,000, and then sometimes I see you guys drop it down to 5. Like,
Correct. On the weekends,
crazy.
we actually, yeah, our promos on the weekends are 5,000. So as soon as we're done with this podcast, I'll be finishing the final touches to the next promo video around the $5,000 incentive or minimum investment incentive. And then we also have another incentive that we're working on right now, Jake, and that's going on through the end of the year, which is in addition to lowering our investment minimums to $5,000, we've also added or sweetened up the deal for those that invest at the traditional $10,000 mark. We're giving back $1,000 in USDC, the stable coin pegged 1 to 1 to the US dollar. I'd say brought about by developed by the company Circle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if you're familiar, but
I am.
that's a company that we have on our sites, on our radar, hopefully to be coming onto our platform soon. So that's another opportunity that I think is going to be very
Yeah,
rich.
they're fantastic. They're one of the few companies that's very compliant and transparent and it works with the government. They're completely auditable. They've been audited by a third party to make sure that the collateral is physically there for the USDC that's out on the market. A lot of these other stable coins that exist don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah, and exactly. And to your point, the institutions that they're working with, or even keeping uh, their their crypto, their liquidity held at their crypto's custody at is BNY Mellon. That's the same custodian that
oh, see, I
is
didn't know
partnered
that.
with. Yeah, go to their website. If you'll see that, and I love the word there. They keep the reports of their attestations. And so if you go to what is it, circle.com? I mean, I've been pulling data from their website regularly. So go to their website, look into their data points on USDC. You'll see that their custodian that they're using is BNY Mellon. BNY Mellon is you'll notice that some of their executives are now,
At
or their vice
PolySign.
president Tim Keeney exactly is now the vice chairman at PolySign. So you're seeing some overlapping in or movement from or migration from the traditional finance space from some of these key executives personnel now moving towards, I guess you'd say, Web3 friendly or blockchain institutional grade blockchain infrastructure friendly type of companies, organizations. I'd say the new financial institutions, if you think about it. Like for instance, Ripple Labs, another company
Yeah.
available on our platform, also shares key personnel management from PolySign. Their CTO David Schwartz and their founder Arthur
Arthur
Brito.
Brito.
Yeah, they're the key blockchain developers or architects behind, or who even developed the XRP ledger. So they developed the XRP ledger. They then went ahead and progressed to develop Ripple Labs for revolutionizing and transforming cross-border payments, and also extending their expertise to transforming the custodyship or custody of these digital assets. And so it's just very interesting to see how these individuals, these companies, this movement is just radically transforming capital markets. And so I'm thrilled to be here at Linqto, and where I'm getting at is, I see Linqto as being to go back a couple questions as well, as Linqto is going to be at the heart of the new financial system with a few other key companies, other financial institutions, other startup fintech companies that are evolving into monsters.
Tell me a little bit about Trustline. So you guys acquired Trustline. What was the purpose behind that acquisition?
Trustline, I don't know if I would be the best person to ask about the ins and outs of Trustline. I think, the gentleman that I would recommend to, and I'm happy to help make some introductions, is our VP of Ledger, Matt Rosenden, the founder and creator of Trustline. So what I believe and what I've been told is I'm not sure if we are 100% using all the bells and whistles or features of the Trustline wallet. We're definitely using and happy to have the personnel and the team that was behind developing the Trustline wallet. So I'm not sure if it was more of an acqui-hire type of an approach, but ultimately we've the team that did develop Trust Wallet, Matt Rosenden team and his personnel. They're right now at this time
working with Linqto.
Absolutely working with Linqto to develop our own wallet. We are launching our own wallet within the next, should be by Q1 of 2023. We're on point to launch it Q1 of 2023. I actually just funded the wallet last night via wire transfer, so it should hit that wallet soon, and then come Monday, we're going to be doing some
trial runs.
Some beta tests, basically making sure that our systems are operating before we go fully live. So I think that's really exciting. So to go back to your question is, I believe it was more of an acqui-hire to take their expertise and help develop Linqto's wallet. And so
Beautiful.
That's what we're building right now, is Linqto's wallet, in addition to our ATS platform, our alternative trading system. So the next reiteration of Linqto is we will be a secondaries exchange for these private equities.
That's fantastic,
these companies.
Man.
And then to go a little further back to your next question, your last question of what's an end goal of Linqto is, we will be the exchange similar to the New York Stock Exchange, but for private equities, the private equities market. So that is the end goal. We will be the biggest market, the biggest institution, the biggest marketplace for processing tokenized securities.
Wow. We'll talk after the call. I've got an idea that I've been put out into the community that I think I can work with you on there.
Cool.
The last piece of this, well, go ahead.
Any type of synergy between us, I appreciate. Ever since we met and had breakfast out in Texas, and I believe that was right around South by Southwest with James Rule XRP. Yeah, absolutely. I got a lot of love from you, man. You're a really great and sharp individual. I can see you're productive, you're trustworthy, you're honest and persistent, and I appreciate that. I see you and I get along for a lot of reasons. So any way that I can help you and it helps Linqto, and vice versa.
Yeah, vice versa. If I can ever help you guys, I was a part of the affiliate program. I'm kind of biased in the investments that currently exist, and so it's hard for me to push people into private equities. Even though I will point out that anytime you guys have offered Ripple or Linqto's on your platform as well. Y'all sell your own private equity.
That's correct.
Along with Uphold, but the two that I was going to specifically touch was Ripple Labs and PolySign. Every time you guys list those, they sell out within minutes. It seems like it doesn't matter the seed round. I think the last round for PolySign was like $3.33. Is that correct? Uh,
I believe right now we're at $2.85 on the platform. So
wow.
we've applied some discounts in addition to the, as mentioned, to our incentives, the ongoing promos. So we're we're doing everything in our power to democratize access to these promising. I don't want to say promising.
I
We
was
are
going to say
doing our
this. I always put a disclaimer in here, so none of this is financial advice.
yeah.
Anything said here is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Always consult with your financial advisor before making any financial decisions. But yeah, we'll speculate and say, in our opinion,
Correct.
PolySign could do very well in the future with some of the points that you made, that we have traditional finance executives on the board there, along with people that are very ingrained in the blockchain community and what's being developed on that side. So yeah,
Yep.
it's no surprise to me that every time you've listed it, it's sold out within minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that just shows how great of an opportunity it potentially is.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, and thanks for noticing, Jake, because that's what we're here. That's why we're here, sir. And so, back to PolySign, they are a institutional grade blockchain infrastructure firm. They're developing the plumbing similar to Ripple
Ripple.
Labs, but for just a specific use case for the in the institutional ecosystem.
Yeah.
And now Ripple Labs is, you know what? They're a fintech giant that has revolutionized cross-border payments utilizing their proprietary technology, which includes RippleNet and which leverages the XRP ledger. And so, why I'm even here at Linqto was because I as well am passionate about the opportunity and the ability that in the features that the XRP ledger has unlocked for the world. Before or in college myself, Jake, I started a business selling and manufacturing and selling backpacks. I'll make this really short. I'm sorry,
No, yeah, please.
but okay. Before as I was graduating college, I started a business. We sold backpacks and manufactured them in China. And so this was my first taste of getting of foreign exchange, monetary policy, D for all the above. Where I'm getting at is I had to wire money to the manufacturer's bank account in China. It took about 5 business days for that transaction to be well received from my bank account, bank account, city provider or Citibank. And in addition to that 5-day lag, I got a message back from the manufacturers. What's up?
I was just going to say there's a discrepancy in the price for when it landed and when you sent it, right? And so that difference you got to make up somehow.
Exactly. All of a sudden, I got a message from the manufacturer saying, "Hey, Ray, you're $1,000 short. You're 10% short." I mean, I'm $1,000 might sound like beans and
Change,
rice to
yeah,
some
some
change to
people,
some,
but you're a college kid,
but
right? And so
I'm
now
a
that's
college kid. Yeah, that's some of my hard-earned lifelong savings. And so where I'm getting at is when I received that email back from the manufacturer saying, "Hey, you owe another 10%." I'm like, how do I owe another 10%? Why is that my responsibility to pay the additional money when it's the banks or the systems and protocols or their workarounds that
cause the
failed?
problem. Yeah.
Yeah, why am I getting penalized for something that's out of my control? And so here we are 10 years later. Now I'm no longer a poor college student. I've graduated since then. It's but still those experiences will for always, I'll always carry them. Why did I get the short end of the stick during that transaction? That really didn't sit well. And so, Bitcoin came around. I was now selling business insurance at the time. I remember being in my cubicle and I was on StumbleUpon and I see the Bitcoin website come up and I was like, oh, that's interesting. The internet of money. Or I mean, that was 2012, 2013, right around there. I still didn't have much money then. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll invest $100. I not even 24 hours went by. I was like, I need that $100. So I removed that $100 from the investment. And, but still, if I always had I knew that Bitcoin was around. I watched it go to 20,000 bucks. And I was like, oh man,
Should have left that in there. Yeah.
did I really take that $100 out? Maybe I didn't. Maybe I was dreaming. But regardless, and here we are. It's just, I do feel like, there's still much runway for Bitcoin. There's still much runway, a ton of runway for many ISO compliant digital currencies. So it's just, I think it's just a matter of time, and it still takes also a level of organic efforts. I do think that it takes a lot of these types of discussions, conversations. I don't know, and the reason why I think there's more to than, obviously there's just more to buying and holding cryptos. On our platform, we're integrated. Linqto is integrated with Uphold, the exchange.
Mm-hmm.
So we have given the power of those that may hold cryptocurrencies that also satisfy the accredited investor requirements to deploy that liquidity held in their Uphold wallet, which is in the form of cryptocurrency, to then reinvest into private equity on our platform. So that's something that's not being done anywhere else.
Yeah, nobody.
Nobody's doing that, and so that's another important factor. Another initiative that Linqto is also doing for the community, the digital asset space. A lot of people think that we're XRP centric, XRP focused, but really, I mean,
you accept any digital currency as long as it's from Link or from Uphold, right?
That's correct. So any of the stable coins, digital assets on their platform, they do offer some equities on their platform, but I don't believe I know that
they're not private.
No. So you can only fund with the cryptocurrencies held in their Uphold wallet. Linqto, we are building on the XRP ledger, so we do have
the ability to take XRP as payment for private equity.
Yeah, we have the ability, of course, to take XRP because that's a digital asset which is held in the Uphold wallet. But we are building our decentralized exchange on the XRPL. So that will be, as we roll out the wallet, the ATS, the next evolution will be to then take what would be our centralized exchange at this time and moving on to the decentralized exchange. And then at that time, that's when everything will be, in the world of tokenized assets, things will be tokenized, interoperable, 100%, being able to move
very
our token, very liquid, being able to move our tokenized or market our tokenized equities on a third-party application and move it around from one place to the next. And so it's just as you mentioned, a very liquid market.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. I think that's all the time we have for this one, but I really want to say that I appreciate you joining me on here and answering the questions. I think people are going to get a lot of value from this episode. And then Byron and I'll recap here just in a moment. But did you have anything? Where can people find you? Can you go ahead and throw out some of the links for Linqto and then yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jay. Listeners, or audience, you can find us on all platforms. We have an omni-channel presence. So we're available on Twitter, and that's at Linqto platform. You can find us on Instagram. That's Linqto platform as well. Actually, I take that back because since we're on all platforms, let me be specific on Twitter. I think it might actually be Linqto Inc.
I think it's Linqto Inc. on Twitter.
Yeah, I think so. I apologize. So yeah, it's Linqto Inc. on Twitter. It's Linqto platform on Instagram. It's Linqto itself, Linqto on TikTok. We're also you can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us basically
YouTube, any platform. You guys do a fantastic job with marketing, and that is Ray. For people that don't know, like Ray's the guy, the content creator, and he's got a team. But you see him out there a lot as the front guy for them.
Yeah, that's right, Jake. We do have a team. We have our ICC team, which is basically our content creation team, with I want to say about five personnel dedicated to just either doing research, building content, writing journalism. We have a journalist from Bloomberg. I mean, we're growing constantly. We just hired on a chief marketing officer this week. She's coming from Meta, formerly known as Facebook. So there's just a lot of things going on every day, every week at Linqto. So again, if for our listeners out there, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, D for all the above. And me personally, I'm on all those channels as well. Instagram is Raymond Ross Fuentes. The Twitter is Ray_Fuentes 11111 four ones. But regardless, I'm the guy doing all the work behind Linqto, so which I'm passionate about. Just go to Linqto's socials. That's my heart and soul behind there as well. So that's basically it, Jake.